Once upon a time, in the quiet, sepia-toned countryside, where the tall grasses whispered secrets to the wind, there stood an old barn, its once vibrant red paint now faded and flaking. The barn, a relic of times gone by, loomed over the rolling hills like a gentle giant, its slanted roof and creaky doors bearing witness to the relentless march of time. Inside, the air was thick with the scent of hay and the faint, lingering echo of old songs sung by farmers long since retired. The sunbeams that strayed through the gaps in the wooden slats danced with the dust motes, painting a shimmering dance on the rusted farming tools that hung from the rafters. In the farthest corner, nestled amidst the moldering straw, huddled a small, trembling figure. She was a kitten, no larger than a toy, her once glossy fur now dull and matted. Her eyes, pools of emerald green, held a fear that ran deep, a fear that had taken root in her heart and grown like a dark, twisted vine. Once, she had been a sparrow, a creature of the skies, but an unseen predator had clipped her wings, leaving her paralyzed and alone. Her name, whispered on the breath of the wind that brought her here, was Meadow. Meadow's days were a blur of cold, hunger, and fear. Her nights were a nightmare of distant howls and the scuttling of unseen creatures. She had forgotten the warmth of a lap, the soft purrs that once rumbled in her chest, the joy of chasing the elusive red dot. She was a shadow, a ghost, a fragment of a once whole soul. Break. One crisp autumn morning, as the leaves outside crunched underfoot and the air bore the first hint of winter's chill, a young woman named Lily ventured into the old barn. She was a volunteer for the local animal shelter, a sanctuary for creatures like Meadow, a place where broken wings could learn to fly again. Lily carried a basket filled with soft blankets, a bowl of warm milk, and a heart full of hope. The air was heavy with the scent of decay and the quiet desperation of forgotten creatures. But Lily's eyes held a light that pierced the gloom, her steps a song that chased away the shadows. In the farthest corner, she found Meadow, her small body shivering, her eyes wide with fear. Lily approached slowly, her movements deliberate and calm, like a mother soothing her fractious child. She spoke softly, her voice a gentle melody that tsh'd away the bars of Meadow's cage. "How, May? It's okay, little one," she murmured. "I won't hurt you. I'm here to help." Meadow shrank back, her body rigid with terror. She hissed, a sound like dry twigs snapping, her small paws spasming in the straw. Lily paused, her heart aching for the tiny creature. She backed away, giving Meadow space, and set down the bowl of milk. The barn fell silent, the air thick with the scent of the milk and the tension that stretched between them. Days turned into weeks. Lily visited Meadow every day, her patience unyielding, her determination unbroken. She did not touch Meadow, not at first. Instead, she would sit beside her, talking softly about the world outside, about the sun on green grass, about the sweet taste of cream, about the joy of being held. She would stroke the air above Meadow, a soft, delicate waltz that mimicked the gentle touch of a loving hand. Meadow's progress was slow, her fear tenacious and deep-rooted. She would flinch at the softest touch, her body stiffening as if braced for a blow. She would stare at Lily, her eyes filled with suspicion, her breath coming in fast, frightened gasps. But Lily was patient. She understood that trust was a fragile thing, easily shattered, and that it would take time to knit back together. One cold, blustery day, as the wind whistled through the barn and the rain lashed against the door, Lily found Meadow trembling in a corner, her body shivering with cold and fear. She reached into her basket and pulled out a soft, worn blanket, one that had been laundered 100 times and one that smelled comfortingly of sunshine and fresh grass. She placed it gently over Meadow, tucking it around her small, shivering body. She murmured soft words into the shell of Meadow's ear, words that spoke of warmth and safety, of a world where little kittens were loved and cherished. Meadow looked up at Lily, her eyes filled with a mingled fear and longing. In that moment, something shifted, like a seedling pushing through the earth to reach the sunlight. Meadow tucked her nose under the edge of the blanket, her eyes fluttering as she inhaled the comforting scent. When she looked up at Lily again, there was a spark in her eyes, a glimmer of something that had fruitfully lay dormant within her for far too long. From that day forward, Meadow's progress was swift. She began to seek out Lily's touch, her purrs rumbling like a distant engine starting up. She would look for Lily's hand, her head butting gently against her fingers, her little body reverberating with contentment. She grew, her once matted fur now glossy and soft, her eyes bright and alert. She began to explore her surroundings, her tiny legs stiff but strong, her tail held high like a flag. One sunny afternoon, as the light in the barn was a golden, dappled dance and the scent of the sun-warmed straw was a sweet perfume, Meadow climbed into Lily's lap. She looked up at Lily, her eyes filled with a trust that was humbling in its simplicity. She began to purr, a sound that was soft and sweet and full of joy. Lily's heart thrilled to hear it, her eyes filling with tears of happiness. Months passed, and Meadow was no longer the wild, terrified creature huddled in the corner of the barn. She was a creature of joy and play, of soft fur and contented purrs. She loved to chase after feathers tied to a string, her stiff legs propelling her with a speed that was astonishing. She loved to nap in the sunbeams, her tiny paws twitching with dreams of chasing butterflies. She loved to be held, to burrow under Lily's clothes, and purr with a contentment that was a microphone of Lily's heart. Eventually, the day came when Lily had to say goodbye. A family had come to the shelter, a family with a little girl who had eyes just like Meadow's, eyes that were filled with hope and love. Meadow was adopted, her small body settling into the crook of the little girl's arm as if it had been made to fit there. As Lily watched them go, her heart ached with a mixture of sadness and joy. She knew that Meadow was going to a place where she would be loved, where she would know the warmth of a home and the joy of a family. She knew that Meadow was ready for this new chapter in her life, a life filled with joy and light and the love of a little girl. And so, under the soft, warm gaze of the setting sun, Meadow walked out of the old barn, her tiny legs marinating with the excitement of the new world that lay before her. She did not look back, for she knew that her past was behind her, a past that had been filled with fear and darkness, but one that had ultimately led her to this moment of love and joy. She looked ahead, her eyes filled with the promise of the future, her heart filled with the warmth of home. And so, in the quiet, sepia-toned countryside, where the tall grasses whispered secrets to the wind, the old barn stood, its once faded red paint now touched up and bright, its doors open to the world. And in that world, a small, once paralyzed kitten, her heart filled with love and her eyes filled with joy, walked into her new life, her tail held high like a flag.